A warm welcome to all of you to the Science Café on Soluna. My name is Sergio Aguilar Gaxiola, and I'm a professor at the UC Davis School of Medicine and the director of the Center for Reducing Health Disparities and the Community Engagement Program of our Clinical and Translational Science Center. The Science Centers, the Science Cafés are community conversations we are having around topics that are of interest to the public. The two main goals of the UC Davis Health CTSC Community Engagement Program Science Café series are to strengthen science literacy by engaging communities and the public and translational scientists in an informal setting through bidirectional dialogue of current scientific and health-related issues and their impact on our society, and enhance the public trust of communities on science. The first Science Café series was launched on June 13, to be exact, June 13, 2016, about 8 years ago. And we had an in-person, we had in-person meetings at that time. On April 30th, 2020, we had the first virtual Science Café sessions, and all of the sessions have been virtual since then. I want to thank Vanessa Trujillo and Elliot Hausman Turrubiate for their help organizing this Science Café event, and also want to thank Soluna and the California Department of Healthcare Services Office of Strategic Partnerships for their hard work and dedication planning for this event. They will facilitate this webinar. I'll now pass it on to Autumn Boylan, Deputy Director of the Office of Strategic Partnerships of the California Department of Healthcare Services, who is introducing the presenters. Welcome, Autumn.
Thank you so much, Dr. Aguilar Gaxiola, and thank you so much for inviting us here. And thank you for the UC Davis Center for Reducing Health Disparities team for organizing this event. Such an important opportunity to share some of the work that California has been doing with this community so that you can help us spread the word and get the word out about the exciting new programs that we're launching. These programs that we're going to share with you today are part of California's Children and Youth Behavioral Health Initiative, which is a $4.7 billion investment in addressing the youth mental health crisis in the state of California. It provides an array of services and support options for children, youth, and families, as well as young adults across the lifespan, and really seeks to reimagine the way that the systems of support are designed in order to best meet the needs of children, youth, and young adults. And those the redesign is really focused on, thinking about how we meet children and youth where they are in schools, in communities, and in the digital space as well. So today we're going to talk about one of the many work streams under the Children and Youth Behavioral Health Initiative, focused on providing free digital behavioral health tools and support to children, youth, and families across the lifespan. The CYBHI, or the Children and Youth Behavioral Health Initiative, is part of Governor Gavin Newsom's Master Plan for Kids' Mental Health, which is a multi-pronged approach to really take this crisis head on and meet this moment. And it is the leadership of our administration and our Health and Human Services Agency Secretary, Mark Galley, who really helped us to launch this initiative. And I'm just thankful for the support that we have in California to be able to take this crisis head on and really meet the challenge to provide a better future for California's children and youth. This initiative is really centered on youth, and family voices. We did a lot of work over the last 2.5 years to hear from children, youth, and families about how they need our system of support to work in order to really be able to engage with them and meet their needs. And these platforms that we are talking about tonight, which we launched in partnership with Kooth and Brightline earlier this year, are really a part of that strategy that we heard from children, youth, and families across the state about how they can be better served in this overall delivery system. We didn't start off on this endeavor by thinking that we could design a system or a digital program for youth without their input and that it would work. We knew that if you build it, they will come would not work for children, youth, and families. And so we engaged extensively with youth and young adults, with parents and caregivers, and got input on what they want and need. We got input on who to select as our partners. And what we overwhelmingly heard is what we ultimately put together in these apps, which we're going to share with you tonight. So thank you so much again for having us here and for taking the time to listen. We'd love to get you involved to help spread the word, as I said. And I'm going to turn it over to our partners at Kooth. Kate is going to show you a little bit more about what these apps are all about and what the opportunity is for children, youth, and families in the state. Kate?
Thank you so much, Autumn, and thank you again to the UC Davis Health team and the Science Cafe team as well for hosting us. My name is Kate Loeb. I'm a Customer Success Manager with Soluna, again, a Cal Hope program powered by Kooth. Just a little bit about me. I grew up in Merced, California, and attended UC Davis, so I'm a proud alumni. I currently live in the Bay Area. My background is in higher education. I worked at UC Davis and CSU East Bay, one-on-one with college students prior to joining Soluna. And I saw and experienced the need for more mental health resources, especially with the focus on accessibility and that digital space, as Autumn mentioned, especially outside of school and working hours. So I'm really proud to be a part of this team. Today, I'm also joined by Amy Gillespie. Amy, would you be able to do a brief introduction?
Yes, hi, thanks so much, Kate. Hi, my name is Amy Gillespie. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I'm one of the clinical leads that works with Soluna powered by Kooth. So I'm with Kooth. I've been a clinician for over 12 years and have worked with a wide range of populations and needs, and really happy to be a part of this program to make mental health care more accessible to folks and allow people to really choose the way that they are able to seek support. So great to be here.
Thank you so much. And then just a brief overview of what we're hoping to do here today is our goal is to share this product with you and how amazing it is that this free resource exists for young people in California. We want you to come away knowing about Soluna, how it might fit into your daily routine or those of your loved ones, and of course, get any questions you might have answered. And then with that, because we're going to be together today for quite a while, over an hour, I wanted to start with some community agreements or community intention. So these are just to make sure we're taking care of ourselves and being present in the space. So first is letting you all know that we will have designated Q&A time. Please feel free to pop questions in the Q&A section and we will address them at the end. We do also have folks monitoring both the Q&A and the chat. One that is really important to me is that stories that are shared here stay here, and lessons that are learned can leave with you. What does this mean? This means that during this time, if anyone shares anything personal or close to them, we leave the details here, but we can take the lessons with us into tomorrow, into our work, into our day-to-day. So again, stories that are shared here, leave the details here, but we can take the lessons with us. And then next is using inclusive language. Just using respectful language, I statements, because we are the experts in our own experience. We want and encourage you all to speak from your own experience. And in this category for me is to remember to avoid jargon, make sure I'm explaining any terminology that I might use an acronym for. And please feel free to call that out as well in the chat if there's anything that I say or mention that needs explanations. I'm open to that as well. And then the last two are pretty explanatory, but remembering to take care of ourselves, feel free to get water, a snack, take a brief break, and then we encourage participation and engagement today. Please be present with us by engaging. There's no need to have your camera on or speak, but we will have a couple different ways of engagement, be it in the chat or through our interactive online question system. So this is the first test of being present and engaging. So in the Zoom chat, if you're able to, I'll post the question here, drop an emoji in the chat of how was your day? Just taking a bit of a measure on how we're all coming into the space. Yay, smiley face with hearts. I love to see that. Okay, awesome. It seems like so far folks are maybe a little bit tired. It's the end of a long day, but we're feeling good, feeling excited, and ready to learn more. Thank you for participating. Okay, so what are we going to talk through today? First, we're going to go a bit more into the behind the scenes of Soluna, as Autumn so greatly introduced kind of that. Then we'll talk about mental health and us, essentially. We'll go into the Soluna app and do a live demo. And finally, we're going to have a call to action and time for Q&A. So when I say behind the scenes of Soluna, essentially what I'm sharing is who are we, what do we do, and also a bit of why we're here with Science Cafe. So our team is a dedicated staff throughout California. We are a large team from the northernmost parts of California all the way down to San Diego and everything in between. Our role is to connect and engage with schools, colleges, organizations, and community at large. We aim to contribute to decreasing stigma around talking about mental health and increasing the resources that are accessible to as many young people as we can. And again, we want to spread as much awareness of this great free resource, especially to our eligible 13 to 25-year-olds and their loved ones. And now let's shift to talking a little bit more about mental health. We'll get into it. So what I want you all to do is, if you have a mobile device or smartphone with you, or if you're able to open an internet browser, if you could visit slido.com, slido.com. I'll go ahead and pop this in the chat as well. You can enter the code 2757883, and that will allow you to participate in answering some questions, and then the responses will be displayed up on the screen. So I'm going to put it in the chat as well. I'll give everyone a few minutes to join. You should not have to enter your name, but if you do not want to enter your name, maybe enter your favorite food or nickname. So the question that I want to chat about and hear from you on is, what are some words or phrases that you all associate with mental health and well-being? I'll also go ahead and pop this in the chat. Okay, so I'm able to see some of the responses on my end, so I'll go ahead and call them out. So someone shared mindfulness, and that's exactly one that came to my mind, is being aware and mindful of how you're feeling, how you're doing, and how you go into your day. Some other responses are balance, communication, self-care, and smile. These are all great responses, everyone. Ooh, feelings, that's a really important one, how we're feeling, our emotions. Wow, y'all, your responses are so amazing. Someone said coping, so maybe coping mechanisms. How do we meet those challenges? Be kind to yourself, communication, harmony, self-control, So maybe, again, kind of tying into mindfulness, how do we react? Oh, and apologies, I'm looking at my second screen, so I'm just reading the responses. Being your best, that's a really great one. So bringing your best self throughout your day into different, especially when you're interacting with other people. And harmony, I love that one. We'll end with harmony. Thank you all for participating. I really loved hearing some of those words and phrases that you associate with mental health and well-being. I want you to think about those as we share this product and maybe how it might help you achieve some of these great goals. And yeah. So just like you mentioned, some of the phrases that you all called out relate directly to our mental health. And I want you to think that just as we maintain our physical health through exercise or a balanced diet, we all need to take steps to support our mental well-being as well. And again, the words and phrases you all called out relate to these things. It could look like relationship challenges, be it your friends or family, loneliness, stress or pressure, knowing how to cope with emotions. So y'all are right on with those phrases. That's what we have in mind too when this app was created and designed. We want it to be able to help support you all as you go through these things. And again, our philosophy on mental health is holistic. We want it to be something that you work on and take care of, just as, again, we might take care of our bodies physically as well. And I wanted to share that despite everything, Gen Z is actually 37% more likely than other generations to receive mental health treatment. And that's why we're here. This shows that young people are more open to talking about mental health, especially than other generations, which is really incredible. And while it's great that we have folks understanding what impacts their mental well-being, it doesn't mean that this work is easy. It's still not completely normalized or easy for us to do so. In fact, a lot of the words that follow mental health are often stigma. Oh, thank you so much for your question. Please define Gen Z. I appreciate that. So Gen Z is typically referring to folks, I believe, born between 1997 and 2010. Please correct me if I'm wrong, anyone who knows that. So that would be, I believe, 26-year-olds. Thank you, Rachel. So members of Gen Z were born between 1997 and 2012. So as of 2023, Gen Z age range is anywhere from 11 to 26. So this fact pertains to those folks. So 11 to 26-year-olds are 37% more likely than other generations to receive mental health treatment. Yeah, and as I was saying, while more young folks are involved in their mental health, taking care of themselves, it's still not easy. There's still a mental health stigma, and as Autumn mentioned, a crisis. And so if we're going to open the door to positive talk, we have a lot of work to do. How can we ensure that even more folks feel comfortable to speak on their mental health and work on themselves? And in this, I really want to emphasize a couple things. First is that our experiences and emotions matter. These things can present in ways like dealing with loneliness, learning to cope with emotions, and relationship challenges. And secondly, being proactive is key. We know that eating right and moving our bodies are proactive ways to support our physical health, but we also want to be proactive about our mental health because caring for our mental health is caring for our whole health and well-being. The mental and physical are interconnected and can't be separated. So no matter if we're talking about the everyday wellness side of mental health or even mental illness, either way, it matters and being proactive is key. All humans have mental health to maintain, just like we have physical health things to take care of. And while it is still not great that we have, while it's great that we do have folks highlighting the need and meeting those challenges, getting involved in mental health advocacy, it doesn't make this work as easy. You know, we still have a lot to go. And then finally, to end our conversation here and transition into what Soluna can do for our mental health. Something you should know is that Soluna app is completely confidential. You remain anonymous, so you can actively seek the support you need when you need, without fear of judgment or how those in your inner circle might react. So let's talk a little bit more about Soluna. I want to begin with an overview. We're also here to support your mental health. We know you're taking care of yourself, you're working on yourself, but we want this to be another resource that you can go on and lean on for support. So some of these overviews and key features are that Soluna is available 24/7 via your phone or website. It is available at no cost to the user. It is safe and confidential. And lastly, it provides access to professional help and peer support, in addition to self-guided tools. So some of our app features, we like to break it down into 3 tiers. However, a user can go in and access any of these features at any time. But again, we just break it down into the different categories. So first is self-guided resources. These we see as universal supports. They focus on fundamental practices such as healthy habits, goal setting, and personal reflection through journaling. This serves as a foundation for overall well-being. Note that journaling and any other self-guided activities where the user can enter text are moderated. And I'll go into that in a second as well. In the second tier, our users gain access to additional content and peer community support. This can include different activities like discussion boards or articles written by our content team and other users. And then finally, the third tier, we introduce an extra layer of specialized assistance and professional support with our coaching features. Our behavioral health coaches provide sessions and guidance tailored to individuals seeking one-on-one support, either drop-in or booked coaching, so scheduling an appointment ahead of time. Coaching hours are between 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., and we know that many have obligations during the day, school, work, family, so our window of coaching reflects this. This tier also includes a searchable repository of community resources for users to explore on their own or dive in with a coach. So before we go into our demo, I just wanted to highlight a few other benefits and access. If you scan the QR code on the screen, you're able to participate in this demo and log into the app as well, or join me on the app as a guest. So please feel free to do so if you're able. And again, just to highlight some of the benefits is this app is now available to all youth in California as of January 2024. In 2023, we began a lot of research and engagement with Californians, as Autumn detailed. And so everything that you see as we go through the demo, including the color scheme, the different features, the theme of constellations, is all a result of that user feedback, even the activities and games as well. So let's go into a live demo. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing the main screen and come in on a phone demo. So thank you for your patience. Okay, so you also see my screen. So this is what the Soluna platform looks like on an Apple iPhone. So to be clear, there might be a few differences on Android, but right now we're sharing the Apple iPhone version. So when a user clicks into the app and has created an account, this is what this will look like for them. So as I mentioned, I've already created an account and you can see that here. So this is pretty bare bones. I have not yet filled out too many things. So when a user enters the app, they would be prompted to either join as a guest account or create an account where they would enter their email and create a password. And then the user would be prompted to create a randomized username. So if you see my username at the top is Bold Tangy Suitcase. And how does this username come about? And it is a randomly selected combination of 3 different words based on some interests that are selected at the beginning when you're creating your account. And so my interests that I selected were cooking, travel, and I believe nature. And so this is the randomized username that came to be. And again, the purpose of this is so that the users on the platform remain anonymous. They cannot, know the personal information of the other user that they might see interacting on the community space. Okay. So, and again, I do want to note that because I have created an account, I do have access to the coaching and community features. For those who are guests, you will primarily have access to the self-guided features. So let's get into it. So when you open the app, again, after you've created your account or you're logged in as a guest, you automatically open up to this homepage called My Sky. So if you tap the different stars, it will open up and preview some different content pieces. So for example, this one is called Scenario, Adios Text, Send Pics. This bottom middle star is called Self Quiz. And this is one form of navigation that a user can use. You can also select different constellations on different topics. So some of them include finding calm, living with anxiety, exploring emotions, raising diverse voices, or body acceptance. I'm going to go ahead and select living with anxiety. And note the visual change. The constellation, the stars have changed arrangement. So this denotes a different topic. Again, if a user clicks through the different stars, they access different pieces of content. So I clicked this middle left star and I see an audio. Anxiety is not always a bad thing. I can click into this and begin this piece of content. And then there is also a brief description. And then I can just X out and go back to the My Sky view. I do want to highlight there is another alternative view of content called the library. This is an alternative way of browsing content to give users choice. I find myself going back and forth to both, just depending on how I'm feeling. You can click to expand on what this constellation is about. So for example, living with anxiety is about learning about anxiety, different forms of anxiety, how it might feel, or how it may appear to others, why we get anxiety, and how to manage it. And you can also see how many items total are included in this constellation. So you can scroll to see the different types of content. So these are some of the main items shown at the top. If we scroll down, we have a featured section. We can swipe through and we can see the different types of content notated. This is a story. If I swipe, this one is an audio, and this next one is also a story. And then at the bottom, there will be some different pieces of content that are recommended to the user based on what they've selected before. So this might change, or maybe you find that you're using a lot of audios, or maybe focusing a lot on the pieces of content related to anxiety. This will be customized to your usage of that. So I'm going to go back to the My Sky constellation section. And I'm going to switch to the topic of body acceptance. So again, this is the constellation for body acceptance. You can see it looks different than the living with anxiety constellation. I can go to the library. And I'm going to select the piece of content called Story We Asked You, Confidence. This is a great example of user-generated content. If we click Start, we can see some
the advice that I would give to someone who's not feeling confident.
Sorry. If you click in, automatically the videos will start playing. But these are selfie videos of other young people giving advice like they would to a friend. So again, folks can swipe through that and hear from other folks on maybe body acceptance and how that is normalized and how it appears and how they experience it as well. So I'm going to click See All, and we can see more pieces of content again in the library view. And there's quite a bit of content in a lot of different topics. I do want to note that we do have a piece of constellation called, I believe, Coming Soon. Let me see if I can find it. On the horizon, pardon. So what on the horizon means is numerous topics that will come in time. So these are things that might be coming soon, might be new. And so we are always updating and adding new content. So this is something that also explains why the app might need to be updated from time to time, is to allow for these new pieces of content to be upgraded. So next we're going to go to the tools menu. So on the bottom bar of the app, you can see the different, kind of main hubs. So we have My Sky. The next is tools. This is the hub where we can see all of the maybe fun or calming tools that we might just need quick access to. The library provides a lot of learning material to gain knowledge or broaden our perspectives, but we heard from users that sometimes they just want immediate relief. So that's why the tools hub exists. These tools are here to calm ourselves in a variety of ways, help us get emotions and feelings out, and appeal to different coping and learning styles. So the first one I want to explore is Starboard. So Starboard is, just as it said on the tools platform, fleeting drawing tool to relax and express yourself. Use this if you maybe want some self-expression or calming. So when you click into the screen, you see a bunch of different dots, and you use your finger to draw on the touch screen, and the stars largen. You can also change the color. And again, make some designs. And again, the hope is that this can be creative expression through drawing. It could aid in mindfulness. There's multiple colors. And then the hope would be that that could help someone kind of relax, maybe a time of high emotions, or maybe nerves like I am right now during this presentation. So that was actually a really nice little segue. The next tool that we want to highlight is Let It Out. This is where you can voice your feelings in a safe space. So it says, providing a safe space for private venting, press and hold the screen while you whisper secrets, share a worry, or just offload. Nothing will be recorded, and no one but you will ever know what you say. So this, again, just shows kind of like a visual where someone might be letting out some of the stresses they've been feeling throughout the day. And then when you're done, you let it go. So the sensation of kind of releasing something out, clearing your mind, and hopefully being able to focus in on what comes next. And then the last couple of tools that I want to highlight include the Thought Shaker. This one is really fun. I've used it before. So what would happen is you would get a message to shake your phone. So you physically shake it. It asks you to shake it harder. And then you get a positive affirmation. So it's an affirmation generator. You can think of it like a magic 8-ball, but for affirmations. And it's a fun way to show some of these different messages that we might not remember in a hard time. So this one shares, there's hope, even when your brain tells you there isn't. And if you all have downloaded Soluna, I encourage you to try out this feature. This is one of my favorites. I'm going to go again. I am calm and in control. As you've noticed, once you click on one of these tools, they change color. So this kind of gives you a clear visual of, I've tried these first 3 out, but these tools might be new to me. So you can continue through these tools, and I encourage you to try them all. The last one that I'm going to focus in on is breathwork. So this is calming your mind with some different breathwork techniques, and it can be helpful. I find for myself, I have a hard time like initiating or maybe keeping the discipline of counting. So having a tool to help and show the different breathing techniques could be helpful, right? Again, it's just someone there to reinforce, count for you, or even choose some different patterns. So the one I'm going to select is box breathing. We have 4 different techniques right now, and the user can pick and try all of them. So what you would do is select your technique, press play, and then the app will guide you through the different breathwork technique. So inhale slowly and deeply through your nose to the count of 4. Hold your breath for another slow count of 4, and then exhale through your mouth, expelling the air from your lungs and abdomen. And then this will repeat a few different times, up to 5 minutes, and you see that on the top left. So whenever you're ready, you can exit out of the breathwork, but it will have that timer for you if needed. And then this is actually the last one that I want to highlight is the free write. So the free write is what we refer to as the journaling prompt. So journaling has really proven effective for improving mental health. This tool gives users guidance on how to approach it. They can select different themes or difficulties. So I'm going to go ahead and start in. And you'll notice that on the app, there's a message for safe check. So this is what I had mentioned earlier about our pre-moderation features where users can enter text. So it says, anywhere you see the safe check badge above, our team is actively monitoring submissions for content that causes concern or shows that you're at risk. So we'll reach out to you if we find a concern in anything you submit. But again, this content, your journal, is private. Again, we're just monitoring for any risk. So I can say, okay, and then I can begin to journal. And just like with the My Sky, you can pick some of these different topics and prompts. You can shuffle different prompts, and then you can tap to journal, and then you have a space to enter. And again, you're notified that the safe check is here. So you can enter in the text, click done, and then you can even do a bit of a rating. We really appreciate the user feedback because we want to make sure that this application is working and functioning for you all. So those are some of the self-guided tools and My Sky features. I'm going to briefly click through the community tab just so we can see what that looks like. So the community tab, users can see maybe some polls from other folks. So for example, what keeps you up at night? And you can see the most common answer was stressing over school, work, or just life. And there was a few different responses there. There's some different forums and prompts that folks can participate in, like describe a conversation where you felt truly heard or understood. A user can respond, and if you notice here again, there's the safe check notification. So this means that any area where a user would type in the community space would be pre-moderated. And our goal with this is to make sure that community content is safe, kind, and appropriate. And ultimately, I think one of our big goals is to make sure you're not sharing any personal information, right? Not sharing the high school you go to or maybe where you live on accident. And so we just want to make sure that we're having a look over that to make sure you're not revealing any private information as well. And then finally, I think almost last but not least is our coaching tab. So on the bottom, you can select the coaching tab, and then as mentioned before, you can either schedule a coaching session when you're available or do drop-in coaching. So if you do select drop-in coaching, you would be placed with the first available coach. If you choose to schedule a coaching session, you can go ahead and select from some of the available coaches. I'm just going to click Lala as the first available. There's a brief description of the coach and their background, their areas of focus, interests, and even some other information. I do want to note that we have coaching available in English and Spanish via the app. However, if there are folks who need other languages available, then we can have those 17 Medi-Cal threshold languages via telecoaching, so via phone. So once you find a coach that resonates with you, you can go ahead and check their availability, and you can select an appointment to be scheduled. I do want to note they're available every day, even holidays, summer school, winter break, again, after work. So we really aim for this to be accessible and work with your schedule. And then the last tab that I want to focus in on is our safety tab. So safety is our main priority, is at the core of everything we do. So we make sure that we always have emergency services available to a user in need. And then there's also your safety feed. So we will reach out to you if we have any concerns about your safety. So you can see that here. And then as well, this app also includes access to different local services, find free or reduced cost resources like food, housing, financial assistance, healthcare, and more. So when you click on this, this tab that says local services, you would be redirected to our our community resource repository. So this is a huge database of different resources in your area, and you would enter in your zip code, and it would pop up some different resources that might be helpful. And with that ends my demo. I'm going to go ahead and switch back over here. Thank you so much. Okay, and let me get the presentation back on deck. And then I'll also take a look at the chat. Well, thank you so much, Rachel. I can go ahead and take some of the different questions as well. So Miriam asks, are you able to receive coach support over time from the same coach if needed? And Rachel answered, thank you so much, Rachel. Yes, you can select the same coach over time, or if you did want to try meeting with a different coach to find a better fit, you can as well. Some of the other questions include, can people older or younger than your stated age group use this resource? That is a really important question. While this platform was designed for 13 to 25-year-olds, I wanted to note that we do have a partner called Bright Life Kids, who focuses on the 12 and under population and their caregivers. And then if you are, let's say you're a user and maybe your 26th birthday is coming up, you would either, you can stay on the app as a guest, and then also we encourage you to have a conversation with a coach, maybe to talk about some resources that you might be able to use in your community to help you out with some of these same challenges or questions. And then the last question that I see is, thank you, Rachel, for putting the Bright Life Kids link in the chat. And then the last question for now is, how do you figure out the best coach for each participant? That's a great question. In my experience, so just sharing my experience, I've been to therapy before, and it can almost be like dating. It can take some time to find the best fit, someone who, maybe converses the way you want to, or kind of has the same knowledge or approach. And so I would encourage folks to try out, different coaches until you find the best fit. It might take a couple times, but that is why we have that feature available. Once you find a person that you really enjoy working with, then you can continue on with them. And I do want to shout out Autumn's response as well for adults over 25, providing some more resources. Thank you so much. So adults over the age of 25 can also access services via the CalHope programs, including the peer-run Warm Line. CalHope is available to all Californians regardless of age, and it is free. And so the website for that is www.calhope.org for those listening. And then another question that's come through is, how are you going to publicize this? That is a fabulous question. So that is one of the reasons why we're here. But again, our team is reaching out to different schools, organizations in the community, and leaders such as yourselves here to share about this resource. Our team is working very diligently, attending different events, conferences, and getting our feet on the street to share. So I want to have us think about how we start our day. You don't have to answer in the chat, but in your mind, hold this question. Think about how you begin your day. And now that we've seen the app, I want to ask, can you see Soluna fitting into your day? You're already on your phone in the morning, like me. It's the first thing I grab. Maybe taking 5 minutes with Soluna could assist and help you meet any day-to-day challenges, help you prepare for a big meeting or presentation like I could have done today. And again, it's just another resource. We often have our phones near us. They're near and dear to us. And we want to encourage you to have that positive mental health care time for yourself. Yeah, thank you, Rachel, for shouting that out as well in the chat. So again, just some of the suggestions I had is maybe starting with a simple routine. So can you start your morning, maybe using some of the Find Calm My Skies scenarios or tools? Can you do a breathwork exercise before a meeting or before school? Can you release some of your thoughts to make space as you prepare for your day? Or even use Thought Shaker to uplift your mindset by affirming yourself. And then finally, we encourage you all to create a routine to maintain a healthy mind. So again, Soluna could be used during your commute, maybe finding some meditation on the bus as you're on your way home, helping yourself wind down before bedtime. You could have a ritual to track your mood with the mood tracking feature. If you're waiting in line or at the DMV or at a doctor's office, you could open up Soluna, maybe help center yourself, prepare, again, reset your mind as you're waiting for that appointment. And then lastly, as I mentioned, when you start your day, maybe start with some positive affirmations. And yes, to all of you, absolutely taking action. So thank you for calling that out, Rachel, in the chat. We love to have folks share this with their communities. If you're in the age range of 13 to 25 beyond or younger, we would love for you to share this and take it to your communities. So as I mentioned, the link is available if you do want to try it out. You are welcome to try it out as a guest if you're over 25. Or even take a screenshot of this or a photo of this and share it with your loved ones who might be in the eligible user range as well. And then I do want to note that we do have this available on computer as well for those who might not have phones. So you can visit solunaapp.com. And then the contact center and telecoaching is available here, as well as our local resource repository. And then I'm just monitoring the chat. Yeah, I see some really good questions. So I'm going to shift to that right now. So someone asked, can we ask the UC system to adopt this app as a resource for our students? Absolutely, yes. Oh, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to respond to that. And thank you, Nadine, for bringing this up. Absolutely. This is something that we can share with the leadership and would be helpful, actually, if you also, join in that effort, through the Office of Public Affairs and Marketing, for example. And I'll be happy to bring this up to the director, Steve Tagliano, as well. But thank you for that question. Back to you, Kate.
Thank you so much. So you're reading my mind with some of these questions. I was going to ask you all, how would you describe Soluna to a friend or colleague, right? And so what this is getting at is our call to action of sharing Soluna by spreading the word. We know the need is there. How do we get this resource into the hands of those who need it in your communities, be it the UC community, maybe your child's school, your local club, whatever that looks like. We're here to help you promote in your schools and community there's actually an interest form on our website, and I'm also going to provide my contact information as well in another slide. And then someone asked, funding is always an issue for mental health programs. Do we know if this app has long-term funding? That is a really important question. I'm going to highlight the answer provided by Autumn. So Autumn shared the apps are currently funded by the state of California through June 30th, 2027. The intention is to make this available in the long term. So by continuing to be mental health advocates, providing your feedback for the app, sharing and helping us improve it, hopefully we can continue to provide that feedback to the state of California and share that there is a need for this type of service. So thank you for calling that out. So a couple of things I would encourage you all to think on is becoming a mental health champion in your school, in your workplace, with your loved ones, spreading the words to your friends and community, and then finally offering us that feedback and letting us know what you'd like or want to see added. And I thank you for doing that throughout this presentation. So our call to action for you all is to share Soluna. Let your friends know, your siblings, your cousins, if you're in their age range. Tell your teacher, counselor, or boss, and maybe share at your local gathering place. I do want to highlight that we have both digital and print materials available. So we are already ready to share this news and get that out there. Again, I'm going to share my email with you all, and we can, you're always welcome to email me, and I can put in the request to get those materials to your hands, and we'll figure it out. And then time for Q&A. So I'm going to call out a couple of the other questions that have been going on in the chat. Thank you so much for your engagement, by the way, and thank you for participating today in the Science Cafe. So it was asked, what metrics are you tracking to figure out success in 1 year, 2 years, and so on? And so that is a really great question. And so it looks like Rachel shared the app was co-developed with youth, and we count on their ongoing feedback. So they can provide it either directly within the app or to our local Soluna representatives. So when we're out and about, when we're feet on the street, we're always advocating and listening to our communities. And so part of my role includes hearing out what folks are saying. So even mentioning, calling back to feedback earlier, hey, that slide's a little bit distracting. That is so important for us to hear, because I know that in my presentations, I can change that slide and make sure that it is better fit for folks. And I can share that with my team to make sure that that feedback is, impacting our whole team in California. Yeah. And thank you so much, Nadine. You mentioned even adding a link to Soluna on a landing page or on a website or something. That is a great way that we can spread awareness. I know many colleges or different centers, schools, wellness centers have resource pages. And so even something as simple as adding a link to our website could get this into the hands of someone who needs it. And then to continue on, one of the questions asked in the chat regarding data, Rachel shared that we're evaluating our usage rates, what type of content and tools are most utilized, and we're focusing on engaging directly in local communities to capture youth feedback. Thank you, Rachel. And then thank you, Autumn, as well. So if you feel comfortable sharing on social media, be it personal or your professional accounts, including LinkedIn, there are social media posts in our partner toolkit. And so she has linked it in the chat there, and I can also share it with our Science Cafe team to make sure it gets to everyone. And then I see a question in the Q&A. Thank you so much. The question is, I can click answer live. Will the governor use information from the app to help determine where resources are lacking? That is a really great question. I'm going to see if any of my partners are able to help chime in.
Hey, this is Autumn. Maybe I can help out with that. So, I mean, I think we will be taking a look at all of the data in terms of where there are challenges with utilization. We'll look at care management handoffs and some of the care navigation support that we're providing in communities. We also separately look within the Medi-Cal program at things like network adequacy to find out if there are enough providers in a particular community to provide services to the Medi-Cal population, for example. The Department of Managed Healthcare does the same thing for our commercial health plans. So we do look at this from an administration perspective. We will say that there are not enough providers in the state of California, or even in the country, really, to meet the full demand for addressing the youth mental health crisis. And so part of what we're trying to do in the Children and Youth Behavioral Health Initiative, including, the launch of these apps, is also make significant investments in our workforce and expand the types of providers who can deliver behavioral health services to children, youth, and families, not just in the digital space, but in communities as well. So just like in the Soluna app, we offer free coaching services. There's also coaching services and supports that are being invested in the community as well. And our colleagues at the Department of Healthcare Access and Information are also making available a new classification of the behavioral health workforce called Certified Wellness Coaches. They just launched a wellness coach program that allows people interested in working in the mental health field to become certified if they have an associate's degree and experience in the field, or a bachelor's degree and experience in the field, so that they can provide services and supports and coaching support to children, youth, and families. So lots that we're doing to try to address some of the workforce shortages that we have in California, but we will definitely be looking at data from the apps to identify who's using the apps, who's not using the apps, and where we can do more to ensure that there's opportunities for community outreach and engagement to get access to services across all communities in California and for diverse populations in the state of California too. We also know that there are many communities who are marginalized and not receiving care from our current delivery systems, who may have who may come from different communities and backgrounds that we want to make sure are getting access to services and that don't require them to go to the doctor or emergency department. And this is really for everybody. It's confidential, it's anonymous, and it's safe. And it's a way for people to engage in multiple languages so that we can provide services and support to all California youth.
Thank you so much, Autumn. I really appreciate your detailed response. I do want to go ahead.
And Adam, there is a question in the Q&A from Bart Edises, and it reads, will the governor use information from the app to help determine where resources are lacking?
I'm sorry, Sergio, I thought that was the question that I was answering, but
I mean, it was answered. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. That's the one I was just addressing.
Okay. No, that's sounds good. Thank you.
If there's follow-up, I'm happy to clarify something, or if my response wasn't clear, happy to say more.
Yeah, thank you so much. Do you feel the question was answered, Bart? Feeling okay? Let us know. Another question in the Q&A was, a great suggestion of putting the QR code on student body cards, store receipts young people frequent, concert tickets, and absolutely, I want to acknowledge we do have print materials that we're distributing. Our team that's on the ground is sharing these, but those are fabulous ideas that I will take to my marketing team and see if those are things we can implement. But absolutely, and as it was discussed in the chat as well, getting the platform linked on different websites or resources is a way that we can also spread awareness by co-opting those sites that young folks are already engaged in. And then I do want to echo and amplify some of the chat dialogue as well. So do want to note and amplify Amy's response that Soluna is a great resource for mental health needs before they become a crisis. Our focus is early intervention and prevention. So for example, someone using the app may be experiencing anxiety at a level 5 out of 10, maybe before it escalates to a crisis level or a high risk level. And again, we know that the earlier the intervention, the better the result. So that is the goal of the app, is again to help young people build those healthy habits, set goals, and get that early intervention so that they can better meet their next challenge or, maybe triggering situation with that toolkit in their hands so that, again, they can meet that challenge and hopefully overcome it. And then again, we aren't meant to be used as a crisis tool. However, we are equipped to manage it if it does come up. Amy is one of our many fabulous clinical team representatives. So in addition to a customer success team like myself, who is out there spreading the word, we do have a robust clinical team on the back end who is always engaged and involved in working with our users on the platform. And yeah, thank you so much to the chat for some of your feedback and thoughts. And please keep the questions coming. We are here, we have the time and space. Yeah, thank you so much, Paige. And that is a really great call in as well. We do have a whole research and evaluation team who are steadily working on data to capture the impact. As we mentioned, we launched January 1, 2024. So we're definitely still in the nascent stages, and we are continuing to see usage increase. As Rachel also mentioned, more and more youth are downloading the app every day, interacting with their social media posts and content, which is another way that we're working to spread the word. We have really active TikTok and YouTube Shorts and Instagram pages. So if you're interested in joining or following our journeys on there, you can also tune in as well. I believe the handles are soluna.app. So soluna.app. And I will pop that in the chat as well for anyone interested. I know for sure that that's the Instagram handle. Thank you, Paige. Paige has also linked our YouTube. And so if you click into this, you can see some of our YouTube shorts as well as some different demo videos that I think are a really fabulous way to share out and get the word out. They also do go over how to log in, how to create an account, how to click through some of the features, just as I did in my demo today. Yeah, thank you so much, Rachel. I'll go ahead and share my personal information as well. So if you have any additional questions, you can email california@kuth.com and we'll be able to provide a deeper dive into them. And we really appreciate your thoughtful questions. If you are ready to engage and activate Soluna in your, again, workplaces, your places of worship or community, feel free to contact me. I've displayed my information on the screen. Please feel free to take a screenshot. And then I do see a question in the Q&A. It looks like some folks are typing and answering. So I'll voice out the question and the answer. So it was asked, any thought that the State Superintendent of Public Instruction can mandate schools present this to different targeted populations? That's a really great question. And it looks like Rachel and Autumn are answering. So I will either hand it over to them or read out the response when ready. Okay, I'll dictate the response. So that's a really interesting idea. Currently, we're reaching out to county offices of education and districts to invite them to present it to their students. Thank you, Rachel. And then Autumn shares, the Department of Healthcare Services is working extensively with schools in the CYBHI space. That's the Children and Youth Behavioral Health Initiative space. We're definitely sharing this resource with schools, colleges, and universities across the state. And I do also want to note we are working to get this not only to folks who might be in school. We know that a large number of our eligible population might have transitioned into the workforce or other avenues, and so we're also reaching out there as well. Like our workforce development programs across the state is something we're working on too. Even non-public schools, right? Private schools, community schools, charter schools. So we are trying our best to get this out to everyone in the eligible age range. And I guess I have just a quick question. Was anyone present able to download the app or visit the website? Feel free to pop it in the chat and I will shout you out. Oh, that's great. That's wonderful to hear you able to download or look into our website. If you have any questions or want me to review any of the features, please do let me know. And that's also a great shout out. What does our outreach look like to the behavioral healthcare space, the medical field? Absolutely, we are also present in there. So for example, I know that we are working to do outreach to not only those in the medical field who are eligible. We know a lot of young professionals fall into our age range of 13 to 25, but also making sure that our clinicians and practitioners know that this is a resource they can refer out to for young people who are eligible. That's a great question. Another Q&A came through from Miriam. Is there an opportunity to consider and design a study to evaluate the effectiveness of this app? This would allow to systemically assess the app's impact, gather valuable data, and gain insights into its effectiveness. That's a great question. I'm going to note this down and take it back to my team. And then Autumn, I see you're unmuted.
Yeah, Kate, do you mind if I jump in? There is an evaluation that we're doing as part of the Children and Youth Behavioral Health Initiative. The California Health and Human Services Agency contracted with Mathematica to conduct an evaluation not only of the initiative at large to determine if we're able to reduce emergency department visits, inpatient hospitalizations, and address chronic absenteeism, for example, but also conducting an evaluation and sharing metrics across all of the 20 work streams that are a part of the Children and Youth Behavioral Health Initiative. So we are specifically looking to evaluate the effectiveness of these apps as part of that larger evaluation. And I did also separately note in the chat that in addition to the evaluation project, we also will be collecting metrics around utilization and posting those in a public reporting dashboard, utilization, downloads, a lot of other details. And we'll be looking to do some data analysis and stratification across racial and ethnic communities, languages spoken, gender identity, sexual orientation, to the extent that we have information that can support that type of analysis. Since Soluna in particular is available anonymously without users having to disclose all of those personal details, we may not have extensive user level data, but to the extent that we do have data available that is self-reported by the user, we will also be conducting an analysis of our utilization across population demographics as well. So lots of things happening in the evaluation space, and a specific evaluation for this effort as part of the Children and Youth Behavioral Health Initiative.
Thank you so much. And then just wanting to remind that when a user does go into the app as a guest, the only pieces of information that they share with us is their zip code and date of birth to make sure that they're in California and in the age range of 13 to 25. If they are to create an account, then they would share their email and create a password. But as Autumn shared, any other information would be disclosed by the user rather than required. As Rachel shared, if there are any questions that we missed, please feel free to repost them or shout them out. I want to make sure we've answered everyone, and we really appreciate these great questions and this discourse. And then just shouting out to continue on the data conversation is we have both process and outcome evaluations. So we're constantly making sure we're aligned with our intentions and goals, also from a customer success standpoint as well, right? Always ready to pivot and adapt to the needs of our users and our communities. And again, to just echo the chat, the evaluations are done using a results-based accountability framework and assessing impact over time. And I'm so happy to hear that you all are excited to share this with young people in your communities, your loved ones, those you might interact with. So again, some of our callouts are, we encourage you to try out the app or share this with your eligible users in your life. You can use the app to express yourself. It could even be 5 minutes a day to journal, write, listen, meditate, heal, and express your feelings. And ultimately, the goal is to discover and grow by exploring your mental health journey. So everyone's feelings and emotions deserve a really safe space. And that is part of the real reason why we're here. And then, as mentioned, I will keep displaying my personal information. So anyone who's interested, especially for folks who might be part of different community organizations or different workplaces, please feel free to reach out to me and we can coordinate meetings, in-person materials, or even digital materials. I'm happy to share those links with you there as well. And absolutely, just echoing Rachel's chat as well. Thank you so much. We really do love these questions and appreciate your insights very much. This is a huge community-driven effort, and all of our insights and experiences are what make this app so valuable and what make it appeal and work for our young people. So we know that this is a really collaborative effort to care for California's youth, the mental health crisis, and young adults as well. Thank you. Thanks, Vanessa. I appreciate that. And thank you, everyone who attended today. We will remain on for questions. I do welcome anything that's come to mind, any curiosities you had. If there was anything in the demo that you wanted to talk through or talk more about, I am happy to approach those as well as the team who's here today.
If I can comment, Kate, I agree with Vanessa about your excellent presentation, but I'm very impressed with how engaged those in attendance have been and how your team has been responding to every one of the comments, and so I'm very pleased about this bidirectional or multi-directional communication that you sustain.
Thank you so much. That is a really high compliment, and I'm sure everyone on the Soluna team feels that way. It is hard work, but this is something we model in our day-to-day, in our jobs, and really happy that it shows. We're so collaborative and always supporting each other. So thank you, everyone here, for supporting me. I was the voice for today, but you all were definitely like the spirit and the knowledge and the backbone. So thank you. I do want to shout out, while we do have our folks on here that, and Vanessa or Sergio, please feel free to jump in, that the next Science Cafe will feature our partner, Bright Life Kids. So I just wanted to share that out if anyone is interested. We really want you to hear from them as well. As a reminder, they are the digital behavioral services provider for 12 and under and their caregivers.
Yeah, no, that's, I'm so glad that you remember that, Kate, and looking forward to that session as well.
Yeah, to shout out Vanessa, thank you for having the date on deck. So the next Science Cafe is scheduled for May 16th. Please save the date. We'll have representatives from Bright Life Kids ready to share that platform with you all. And again, really crucial in making sure we're including, young 0 to young adults who might be 0 to 25. So we serve that whole lifespan range as Autumn shared. So we're really excited to share this one portion with you. So a question that I had for you all was, how might you describe Soluna to a friend or colleague? So for anyone who is still here, I'm really interested to see, now that you've learned a little bit more about Soluna, the platform, how might you describe it to someone in need, even if it's a child, again, a sibling, someone in the age range, or someone who might be a mental health advocate themselves. And again, you can join at slido.com, enter the code 2757883, and then I will call out some of the answers. I see some folks are typing. And transparently, this serves as a knowledge check and also to maybe call out some of the highlights that you've seen from your perspectives. So I think I love this one. Someone said free. So absolutely. I think a really key component of Soluna that we're so grateful for is that it is free and no cost, both to users and even, again, organizations or schools who might choose to implement it or showcase it as a resource. A tool for well-being. Yes, that is the goal. We know that Soluna is on your phone, so I know some folks are working to get their screen time down. However, we see this as a really productive way to utilize your technology. Comprehensive. That's a great call out, is the self-guided tools all the way up to professional care and support. A way to take care of yourself. Absolutely. A cool app to help with mental health challenges. An innovative and relatable app. Yes, we try really hard, especially in the design. We've definitely had some youth. I'm sure Paige and I have both had youth who have shared how they really enjoy the visuals of the application. And a great free app to use daily. Yes, I actually had someone ask, is there a limit? And the answer is no. Someone could go in and use this app daily. There's no free trial or limit to how often they come into the space and work on themselves. And then I really love what's said in the chat, a friend in the palm of your hand to support your well-being. I might have to quote and frame that. That's a really beautiful way of summarizing some of the tools, is it's meant to be relatable, meant to be here for you. As young people, we don't always feel comfortable sharing our struggles with our friends or family members for different reasons. And so this acts as, an alternative to that, where we can still release and let it go, but to a safe and confidential space with no judgment. Yes. And then someone also shared a fun, engaging, and informative app. Thank you. That's fabulous. Very concise. Yeah. Thank you so much for your participation in this. I loved hearing some of these phrases. Oh, resourceful. Yes. That's a great call out, is that if someone needs more than what the app provides, both our coaches and the user themselves can find community resources outside of that platform to support and hopefully help them out in different areas. Again, be it food insecurity, housing, transportation, different medical services. So the goal is for it to be kind of wraparound preventative care. Thank you so much. So again, I encourage you all in your spaces, in your places that you occupy, be it work, personal, again, on your social media, or be it personal or professional as well. We want you and ask that you help improve the app. Your feedback and questions today have already made an impact. I know Rachel, Autumn, myself, and my colleagues are already thinking of ways that we can better communicate this, make sure that this is aware that our audience is aware of these things. How can we integrate that into our presentations? We encourage you all to spread the word. You've all called out some different ways that you already are thinking of how to get Soluna into the hands of young people in California, be it putting it on your website, putting it on the back of concert tickets. That was a really innovative one, or even on the back of like ID cards or student cards. And we're here to help you promote the school, or excuse me, the resource in your schools and communities. So again, please feel free to reach out to me personally. I am happy to be a partner and make sure that this is as low lift as possible for you all as well. And then finally, continuing to be mental health advocates. So the fact that you all are here today, engaging in the Science Cafe, is an obvious show that you are a mental health advocate, not only for yourself, but those around you and your community. So thank you so much for being here and for helping to build like that culture that promotes better mental health and well-being. It's okay to not be okay. And support is available, right? We know that asking for help can be really hard sometimes. And so again, really thank you for being here. Thank you for advocating for mental health. I'm so excited to be in this space with you. And then again, I will share out my personal information, but thank you so much. If the Science Cafe team has anything to say, I will pass it along to them.
Just to to thank again those who attended this session and the incredible participation and questions and the answers. It was very engaging, and so I'm leaving with a big smile, and what a pleasure to serve, as a platform for you to share this very helpful, timely information about Soluna. Congratulations to you, Autumn, Kate, Tina, Paige, Rachel, and the whole team.
Thank you, Sergio. Thank you all for having us here. We really appreciate the opportunity to come and share.
Excellent. And looking forward to the next session.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Very good. Have a good evening.
Have a good evening, everyone. Take care.